I've said it before, and I'll say it again. While I may not have been the most fond of Batman Returns, the first few times I saw it as a kid, I have grown to appreciate it a lot more as an adult, and it remains one of my personal favorites of all the Batman films. The unique style of its director Tim Burton injected so much life and personality to everything shown on screen, and while the dark themes and ideas the film discussed were considered very taboo at the time of its release and garnered it a lot of criticism, in actuality, if you really think about it, Batman Returns raised the bar and laid the foundation for a lot of these same kinds of superhero films that discuss a lot of these same dark concepts we enjoy today. The genre owes a lot to it. It had the balls to go in its own direction and basically ignore what was then mainstream. Today, I'll be reviewing the official comic adaptation of Batman Returns to see how it compares, what it changes, what it may improve upon, and of course, what it may fall short on. It came out in August of 1992, a little under 2 months following the film's North American release, and was written by Dennis O'Neil with art provided by Steve Irwin. The story begins with a flashback depicting two wealthy socialites, the Cobblepots, getting rid of their disfigured and animal-like baby named Oswald, throwing him in a river with his basket drifting into the Gotham sewers, where it is found by a group of penguins living beneath the condemned Arctic World Zoo. Yeah, I know, just go with it. Decades later, we see rich industrialist Max Schreck meeting with Gotham's mayor regarding a power plant Schreck wants to build. I had extreme difficulty reading his dialogue in this comic without forming a Christopher Walken impression in my head. Anyways, the mayor refuses the project, believing the city has more than enough power to take it into the next century. Schreck, his son Chip, and the mayor then go to a Christmas tree lighting ceremony in Gotham Plaza, and, on their way to the podium, Schreck threatens the mayor with a possible recall. As Schreck delivers his speech, the plaza is suddenly attacked by the Red Triangle Circus Gang, who look to kidnap Max Schreck. Batman is called upon with the bat signal and quickly arrives to commit senseless murder after senseless murder, just like in the film. He also saves Schreck's secretary, Selina Kyle, who is being held hostage by a circus clown holding a taser. We catch a glimpse of the new armored-looking batsuit, as it was depicted in Batman Returns. Again, though, much like the comic adaptation of the '89 film, Batman's eyes aren't always drawn with enough shadow, and you do see his skin tone at times. Schreck fails to escape the Red Triangle Circus Gang, and is taken to the sewer hideout of Oswald Cobblepot, now known simply as the Penguin, beneath Arctic World. Schreck is blackmailed into helping Penguin reintegrate himself within society, and Schreck agrees to help if Penguin does a favor for him in return. The Penguin stages a kidnapping of the mayor's infant child, and makes himself out to be the hero. He tells the news crews that all he wants is to find his parents, and to understand why they chose to do what they did to him. He's playing the sympathy card, one that wins over Bruce Wayne, who is watching the coverage of the events in the comfort of his mansion. While out on his nightly patrol, Batman sees the Penguin sitting alone in Gotham's Hall of Records, writing stuff down, and is very suspicious of him. We cut to the offices of Max Schreck, where Selina is getting Schreck's speech prepared for a meeting he has with Bruce Wayne the following day. Unfortunately, Selina uncovers protected files that go into how the power plant Schreck wants to build will drain Gotham of its energy and store it like a big capacitor. Because of this, Schreck kills her, pushing her out the window of his building. In the theatrical film, Schreck's son Chip was depicted as being relatively innocent, more or less, but here he's just as corrupt and sinister as his father. They both agree that Selina had jumped out the window, committing suicide due to boyfriend trouble or stress. Miraculously, Selina manages to survive her fall and is essentially reborn by a group of stray cats that surround her. She returns to her apartment, trashes it, and makes herself a costume, becoming Catwoman and unleashing her aggression on any man that crosses her path. Bruce Wayne meets with Shrek in his office and explains his concerns over the power plant. Having met with the mayor already, Bruce is in agreement with him that the city has enough power. Bruce also believes that Max has ulterior motives and is wary over the fact that Shrek has recently partnered up with Oswald Cobblepot, with Bruce having evidence that Oswald runs the Red Triangle Circus Gang. Just then, Selina enters the boardroom to the surprise of Shrek. She seemingly has amnesia and can't remember the cause of her visible injuries. Shrek asks Selina to escort Wayne out, and the two instantly hit it off on their way to the elevator. With no other option to get his power plant project off the ground, Shrek convinces the Penguin to run for Gotham Mayor and use his Red Triangle Circus Gang to stir up trouble in the city and discredit the current one. Oswald reluctantly agrees, and only really does so because Shrek brings up the poontang being mayor would bring him. The man has been living in the sewers for decades. Can you really blame the guy for his choice of priorities? Batman tries his best to put out the flames of criminal activity that ignite all over Gotham. He takes out a group of Penguin circus goons with his remote-guided batarang, as seen in the film, which is also caught in the mouth of a criminal's dog, one we see Batman fail to chase down, which is hilarious. We also get that sequence with the explosive, strapped to a clown in the comic instead of the strongman like in the film. Dennis O'Neil and Steve Irwin have it, so Batman just knocks the criminal out and throws the bomb down a manhole. They try their best to alleviate some of the killing this Batman does, as much as they can at least. Batman is confronted by the Penguin, who is admiring his handiwork, and gives the Dark Knight that iconic "things change" speech from the film. Suddenly, Catwoman crosses their path and sets off an explosive in Shrek's department store. Batman goes after her, and the two fight on a nearby rooftop. Catwoman knocks Batman off of it, and as he's hanging precariously, she brings up the similarities and differences the two of them share, that Batman wants to preserve the peace in Gotham City, and she wants to disturb it. Batman is able to hit Catwoman with a pellet filled with some sort of acidic fluid, which gives him the time to climb back up and catch Catwoman before she falls. She asks him who he really is under the mask, even teases him by saying he can help her find who she is underneath as well, before stabbing him in the abdomen with one of her claws, and Batman knocks her off the building they are standing on. Selina survives yet another fall, this time landing in the back of a sand truck, being saved by kitty litter. We see more attempts to make the comic more kid-friendly than its big-screen counterpart. Not only was that bizarre, nose-biting scene removed when Shrek revealed his plans to make Oswald mayor, introducing him to his election team, but thankfully, we also don't have to see Penguin grope some young female voter, or say just the pussy I was looking for when he meets Catwoman in his office. Betcha that'll sell some McDonald's Happy Meals, huh? Catwoman proposes that Penguin turn Batman into a criminal in the eyes of the public, turn the city against him along with the mayor. Penguin challenges the mayor to have another tree-lighting ceremony in Gotham Plaza to show the populace he can effectively protect them. He also invites Batman to attend as well. Penguin would use the batarang taken by the dog from earlier to knock out the Ice Princess, who will be in charge of spectacularly lighting the tree at the ceremony. She still does, don't you worry. The police find the batarang stained with blood and believe Batman may have been responsible for the Ice Princess's disappearance. The Dark Knight arrives at Gotham Plaza and finds the Ice Princess tied to a chair. Catwoman appears, and the two fight again, briefly, before the Ice Princess is taken up to the rooftop. When Batman reaches her, the Ice Princess is standing perilously on the edge, overlooking the plaza below. Before she can walk safely into Batman's arms, Penguin shows up and throws an umbrella at her, which is full of bats. Panicked and frightened, the Ice Princess stumbles off the roof, and the citizens below believe she had been pushed by Batman. The Ice Princess is killed when she lands on the electrical box of the Christmas tree, and it lights up, releasing even more bats that fly around and begin terrorizing all those in attendance. Batman manages to escape police capture using a gliding apparatus that extends out of his cape and lands in a nearby alley where he had parked the Batmobile. When he enters it, though, he finds that it has been taken over by the Penguin. While Batman had been dealing with the Ice Princess and Catwoman, Oswald's goons had found his car, disassembled it, and attached a device that allowed Penguin to control it remotely. Penguin begins taking Batman on a joyride throughout the city, causing as much damage and risking as many lives as possible to further tarnish Batman's reputation. The Caped Crusader is able to rip out enough of the Batmobile circuitry to regain control of it in enough time to transform it to fit through a tight alleyway and get away from the police, who are in hot pursuit. The next day, Oswald does a speech in Gotham Plaza, but Batman, with the help of Alfred, somehow manages to jam the microphone's frequency and use previously recorded audio of Penguin dissing Gotham and its citizens while he was controlling the Batmobile to turn the crowd against him. Even Max Schreck bails on Oswald to save his own ass. Penguin is then chased by an angry mob and retreats back into the sewers. Shrek hosts a charity costume ball to regain favor with the public after the Penguin fiasco. I always loved this sequence in the movie. You have Bruce and Selina both attending and have seemingly dressed as themselves. No costumes at all, but those are their costumes. Their true faces are the ones covered by a mask. The party is interrupted by the Penguin, who reveals to all of the wealthy socialites present that as he speaks, his gang is fanning out all over the city and stealing their firstborn children, a list of names he had compiled from the Hall of Records earlier. Penguin tries to take Chip Shrek hostage, but instead is convinced by Max to take him instead, so he can get revenge against him for abandoning him at his speech. I've said this countless times, but the idea of the Penguin stealing young children is one of the darker elements of the film, hands down. He has them caged up in this creepy train that drives around and wants to drown them all in the sewers. It's really fucked up. Thankfully, Batman is able to stop Penguin's goons and save the children. The villain is given a note in his sewer lair from an organ grinder's monkey and asks what's taking them so long. A stop at McDonald's? That's hilarious because Batman Returns and its Happy Meal promotion got a lot of heat from parents for marketing such a violent movie to kids. With the children rescued, Penguin initiates his contingency plan. He straps missiles to the backs of a Penguin army in the hopes of destroying Gotham City. That too is thwarted by Batman though, who hacks the signal's frequency from within the sewer tunnels in his Bat ski-boat vehicle. Furious, Penguin tries to make his escape in a four-wheeled duck, but is intercepted by Batman, who crashes through the surface of Arctic World. Batman and Penguin fight each other with the Dark Knight summoning a swarm of bats, which cause the villain to stumble backwards and crash through the glass ceiling of the Penguin enclosure, his lair, with him falling into the shallow water below. Catwoman had gone after Shrek, wanting to kill him for killing her, an eye for an eye. Bruce desperately tries to reach Selina, trying to convince her to give up her quest for revenge and to come home with him, but she refuses, even after they both remove their masks. Batman pulls his cowl off like a helmet and doesn't rip it off like he does in the film, where the makeup around his eyes just disappears in that one shot. Once you see it, it's impossible to unsee, and kind of ruins the moment. Selina ends up killing Shrek with a power surge, using the taser she had taken from the clown Batman saved her from at the beginning, and is presumed dead. Penguin managed to survive his fall, but is mortally wounded. He tries to finish off Batman with one of his umbrellas, but is unable to, picking the cute one, and just slumps over dead beside the water. His funeral, with the penguins acting as pallbearers, is just as cheesy and disturbing as it was in the movie. The GCPD wonder if their relationship with Batman can be repaired after everything that has happened, and if Gotham's citizens can forgive him and they. Alfred picks up Bruce, who wonders if Selina had made it out of Penguin's lair alive. Bruce sees what he believes to be her silhouette in an alleyway, but it turns out to be a stray black cat that he decides to take in. Bruce then wishes Alfred and the rest of Gotham City a Merry Christmas. The comic adaptation of Batman Returns is pretty decent for what it's worth. Like all of these movie tie-in comics though, it feels rushed, and its compromised form just leaves me wanting more by the end. Want me to just go watch the movie it's based on instead. But the story here still manages to do enough of the film justice that it's not a complete waste of time reading it and enjoying the artwork. With all of my reviews looking at these movie to comic adaptations of the Batman films, I hope I haven't been sounding like a broken record, but by the end, they all make you feel the same way. What else can I say? The Batman Returns comic doesn't do a whole lot to really stand out from the movie though. There aren't any additional deleted scenes that made their way into it or anything, like in some of the other comic adaptations I've looked at, which is no fun. Here, more was just removed to tone down the violence and sexual innuendo. All of the Batman Catwoman stuff in the story is great, but we don't see enough of Bruce and Selina together, just their brief interaction at Shrek's office, and then later at the costume ball. We don't get to see them talk on the street in front of that store, or the date they have at Wayne Manor when they both have to leave. It's a shame, but I understand why it was all cut. There are only so many pages they can fill. I hope you guys enjoyed my quick rundown and review of the Batman Returns comic adaptation. Let me know what you think of it and what you think of the movie down in the comments section below. In a few weeks' time, I will be taking a look at the recently released Batman '89 limited series that made a solid attempt to continue the universe of the Tim Burton Batman films. It was written by the same screenwriter of those movies, Sam Hamm, and is in many ways the third film we never got to see. Stay tuned.